Well, good day, time travelers. My name is Mr. Langworthy, and I'm on the Struggle Bus. Um, I've tried to record this like 3 times now. The last time, the computer just flat out shut down on me. Hopefully, this will work. All right, this says below is a representation of the number 6. That's right here. Copy the diagram, use it to illustrate each of the subtraction problems below. What they want you to do is they want you to realize you can subtract a larger number from a smaller number, and this is 6. Even though we have 9 plus tiles, we've got 3 zero pairs. We talked about how a zero pair is a positive and a negative. When a number and its opposite, we combine them, we get 0. So 0 plus 0 plus 0 plus 6 is still 6. The good news is we can subtract 8, right? I can take 6 and 2 more. Now we have that 8 that we can subtract. Count with me here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We can remove 8 only if we have 8. Okay, now these are gone. Maybe I'll do this. I'll get funky with it. Oops. Let me do some erasing. All right. We're going to subtract. We're going to make this white. I can get rid of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now we've gotten rid of 8. That's not there anymore. When we get rid of our next zero pair, what are we left with? Huh? Look right here. We've got 2 negatives. So 6 minus 8 is negative 2. You with me? You see what we did there? Good, hope so. Do a little erasing again, get back to where we were. Now we can do 6 minus a negative 1, right? I'm going to do the same thing I did. I'm just going to shade out a negative 1. Do you agree that this is a negative 1? We got rid of it, right? Now, when we look, we're going to go back to our zero pairs. That's 0. Maybe we'll just blip it out. So this is 0. We're going to make that disappear. This is 0. We're going to make that disappear. And what do we have left? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Another trick that I want you to realize is whenever you're subtracting a negative, I typically just make that a plus. 6 plus 1, we know is 7. All right, so negative 2 over here is 7 here. I'm going to undo some stuff. And for those of you that are wondering what I'm listening to, guess what? I don't even know. I've got some YouTube music playing. It's on the Explore thing. So it just suggests music that they think I might like. This is all right. It's kind of funky groove going. All right, moving on to our next problem. Negative 2 times negative 5 plus 7. This is when you need to start doing your PEMDAS. You have to multiply first. I know that 2 times 5 is 10. So we got us a 10. I also know that a negative times a negative, since the signs are the same, it's going to be a positive, right? So this really becomes 10 plus 7. 10 plus 7, 17. So the answer for the first problem is 17, right? Going to B, looking over. First thing I have to do is to multiply. Where's our multiplication thing? Right here. All right. Now the thing is, I'm going to write it down. 3 times 4.6. Whack, 6. Right? I know 3 times 6 is 18. Carry the 1. Put down the 8. 3 times 4 is 12. Plus 1 is 13. So we get 138. But here's the thing. We have a digit past the decimal point. I call them cheeks. So when we get our answer, there's always an implied decimal point. I just have to bump it over 1. So my complete answer for this one is 13 and 8/10. Well, I should say 13 and 8/10 is this section right here. We still have to add and subtract, all right? I'm gonna do a little cleaning up so I can see what I gotta do here. All right, so my new problem, I'm gonna use a text box here. We've got, now this corresponds to this problem right here, right? 4 and 1800ths. You see where this is at? To that, we're adding, and we figured out that was 13 and 8/10. And from there, we have to subtract 2 and 3600ths. Now, PEMDAS tells me that we're going left to right. I'm going to clean this up a little. Because we've already got that all up on my thing here. Now here's where we've got our, I'm going to circle terms, right? This is one pile, that's another, this is a third, all right? So now I'm going to take my 13.8, 13 and 8/10, and we're adding 4 and 1800ths. Now here's the thing, I do what we call place values or placeholders. Since we're combining positives, it's just an addition problem. 0 plus 8, 8 all day. 8 plus 1, 9 all day. Bring down your decimal point. 4 plus 3, I know is 7. 1 plus 0 is 1. So this part right here, I rewrite as 17 and 9800ths. I'm going to do another text box. $17 and 9800ths. And then I'm going to clear up again. All right. I'm going to leave this up here because this is the whole problem. We have just, though, combined these two parts. So now we've got 17 and 9800ths. If I can get my thing in there. And to that, we have to now, we're actually adding a negative 2 and 3600ths. So I'm taking this, I'm combining a negative and a positive. Oh. Got to do my shift. We're not equaling, we're adding a negative. And I am hoping that you youngsters have gotten to the point where you realize when we're adding a negative, it's a subtraction problem, right? So here I've got 17 and 9800ths. That's this part. And we are getting rid of 2 and 3600ths. Now I'm lining up my place values. I hope you are too. All right. Oop, oop. 8 minus 6 is 2. 9 minus 3 is 6. 7 minus 2 is 5. I'm bringing down my decimal point, exaggerating it a little bit. 1 minus 0 is 1. All right. Since my first number is positive, it stays positive. So, long story short, the answer to this problem is 15 and 62/100ths. Now, I always do what's a quick check. Does it make sense? So if I were to combine 3 times 4, guess what I just did? I realized I would have made a big mistake. Wah, wah, wah. That's why checking is huge. All right? This should not have been 17 and 98/100ths because that's a positive times a negative. My 13 thing should be a negative. Dude, I'm glad I caught it. All right, so let me clean my mess up. Oh, life is hard. But the good news is, hopefully you took that as an example that everybody makes mistakes. It's always good to double check your work. I caught a huge mistake that I would have given you the wrong answer to. Oh, so this is not 13 and, what did I say it was? 13 and 8/10. It's a negative 13 and 8/10. So since that's a negative and my 2 and 36/100ths are negative, I can combine those. I'm just going to write it down. 13, no, actually I'm going to use the text box. I'm going to use the text box. That way it's so much easier to read. All right. So now since I've got 2 negatives, I can combine 13 and 8/10. We're combining negatives, so I'm going to add. Hold on for a second. Plus, we said it was a negative 2 and 36/100ths. All right. Now, maybe I should have done that. I'm going to enter that. So these kind of line up a little bit. Then I'm going to switch over. Oh, hang on. All right, text box. Sorry, you get to watch me struggle. But guess what? I'm a human being. I struggle too. The good news is I don't quit. All right, when I get to this point, I'm lined up my decimal. I have a 0 here that I can add. 6 plus 0 is 6. 8 plus 3 is 11. Carry the 1. 4 plus 2 is 6. Bring down my decimal point here. 1 plus 0 is 1. So what this should look like, a negative 13 and 8/10 plus a negative 2 and 36/100ths should be, I said 13, okay, 16 and 16/100ths. I'm going to double check that because it's so messy. Got a 6, we got a 1, got a 6. Yeah, so this should be negative 16 and 16/100ths. All right. And to that, I can combine it with 4 and 18/100ths. We're going to go with absolute value. I'm going to write it underneath. The signs are different, so this becomes a subtraction problem. 4 and 1800ths. Again, we're going to have to do the bottom bigger, better borrow, right? Because you can't take 8 away from 6. I'm making that a 0. Now I got 16. 16 minus 8 is 8. 0 minus 1, can't do it. Got to borrow from the 6. That becomes a 5. 10 minus 1 is 9. I bring down my decimal point. And that was 5 minus 4 is 1. 1 minus 0 is 1. And that kind of makes sense, doesn't it? If I do 16 minus 4, it's going to be close to 11. So, since we started with a bigger negative number, my answer is a negative 11 and 9800ths. And that makes sense because if you think about it, we had about a 16 minus 4, and it should be really close to 11. So that makes sense. Good. Your answer for part B, it's right here. Let me clean up my mess. All right, clean up my mess. I'm hoping I can pause this and quickly join it with my other one. I don't know. We're going to find out. We're all about exploring today. I don't leave answers because you guys would just copy down your answer or copy down and cheat. I want you to have to at least listen to me go through an explanation real quickly. And what's good was, like I said, that did give you a good example of what happens when you if you don't double check, you will end up with wrong answers. All right, let me see if I can Shift Command 5, see if I can pause this. Options. Okay, I'm going to have to stop this and then give you 2 chunks.